Hello and welcome to Renewed by Faith, where we are taking a deep dive into the book of Job. Today we are focusing on chapter 8. We're reading from the NIV version of the Bible. Today we hear Job's friend Bildad, the Shuhite, reply. Remember, Job's three friends came and sat with him for a week in mourning, and then the first to speak was Eliphaz, who kind of pushed back on Job a bit. But if we remember, he said, can a mortal be more righteous than God? Can even a strong man be more pure than his maker? That came because he said he saw a spirit pass by who mentioned that. And then he went on to suggest that Job, he says, if I were you, I would appeal to God. I would lay my cause before him. So he suggests to Job that he lay his cause before the Lord, stating what he is dealing with and having him present it to God, right? Great suggestion, right? I mean, there was some things that Eliphaz says that were not so great, that were a little bit poking the bear, so to speak, when Job is in his misery, as he states, calling him a bit foolish for what he is, the way that he's handling things. And then Job responds to him saying that God has, taken it upon himself to bring Job down, and that he wants to die, basically. And he says, anyone who withholds kindness from a friend forsakes the fear of the Almighty. And he says that his brothers are as independable as intermittent streams, that his friends are kind of not being supportive in what he's going through. And then saying that he is just absolutely miserable, and he says he will continue to speak out and complain, basically, that he despises his life and he's ready to go, basically. So, and then kind of pushes back on Eliphaz, like, what have I done to you? Why are you picking on me when I'm in my misery, right? So now today in chapter 8, we read Bildad, the Shuhite, who is now going to chime in on the experience. And so I'm going to go ahead and start reading. Chapter 8, Then Bildad the Shuhite replied, how long will you say such things? Your words are a blustering wind. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? When your children sinned against him, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you will seek God earnestly and plead with the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, even now he will rouse himself on your behalf and restore you to your prosperous state. Your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be. Ask the former generation and find out what their ancestors learned, for we were born only yesterday and we know nothing. And our days on earth are but a shadow. Will they not instruct you and tell you? Will they not bring forth words from their understanding? Can papyrus grow tall where there is no marsh? Can reeds thrive without water? While still growing and uncut, they wither more quickly than grass. Such is the destiny of all who forget God. So perishes the hope of the godless. What they trust in is fragile. What they rely on is a spider's web. They lean on the web, but it gives way. They cling to it, but it does not hold. They are like a well-watered plant in the sunshine, spreading its shoots over the garden. It entwines its roots around a pile of rocks and looks for a place among the stones. But when it is torn from its spot, that place disowns it and says, I never saw you. Surely its life withers away, and from the soil other plants grow. Surely God does not reject one who is blameless, or strengthen the hands of evildoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Your enemies will be clothed in shame, and the tents of the wicked will be no more. And that is the end of Bildad's response at this point to Job. And next chapter will be Job's response to Bildad. But basically, what is Bildad saying? He's saying that God doesn't make mistakes, right? God doesn't smite those who don't necessarily need to be smited. And so, although, again, back to the beginning, remember, God said that Job was blameless and upright, but he never said he was perfect, and he never said he was completely humble and without any fault, right? Blameless and upright just means that he was a man of integrity. It doesn't mean that he still didn't have some ways about him that required a lesson, right? So, what I noted in my notes is Bildad saying that your beginnings will seem humble. Humility is important, and so prosperous will your future be, stating if you seek God earnestly, right? He's saying to stop complaining, right? Is what the friends are saying. Stop complaining and bring these complaints to God, right? Address God. Be humble before God. Humble yourself and say, maybe there is something in my life that I have done that is requiring me to learn something or requiring some discipline from the Lord, and not necessarily believing that we are so blameless and upright that we don't deserve some correction or some redirection or some learning once in a while, right? So the friends are saying, humble yourself before the Lord, come before him, seek him, give him, state your issues before him and let him correct you, or let him give you information, or let him be the one to judge the situation, right? And so we'll see what Job says next time in chapter 9. Stay tuned for, hopefully we will see eventually, not till the end, but stay tuned. We'll see what the book of Job is truly all about. Although it's a book of grief and it is a book about suffering, we'll see that there's more to the story than we have thought. So thank you so much for joining me. I pray blessings over your day. Thank you again. Take care. God bless.